Relax. It's Afternoon Karak with Aisha Al-Nazmi and Mikhail Atiyah
on Pulse 95.
Okay, since we are exactly 11 days from the upcoming year, how about we do some sort of countdown?
Why not? Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so starting from today, I'm going to ask you a question, basically reminiscing about the various things you've been doing in 2020. Oh, sorry, 2021. Okay. Sorry, 2021. Okay, so let me start with this, because I love me some food, right? So my question is...
Yes.
What is the most notable food or drink you had in 2021?
So I would say mocha has become, I've never been a coffee person, but mocha has now become a stable drink that I have every once in a while. And weirdly enough, I crave it very much because I've always had this issue with coffee. I never liked the bitterness of it, but I love hot cocoa. And once I started mixing coffee with cocoa, I'm like, wow, why did I never have this drink before? So in terms of drink, that is my favorite. In terms of food, I am slowly growing to love Asian food. I've been trying out all sorts of, like all the Chinese restaurants, trying out the dumplings, the different types of noodles, you know, the black pepper, something called black pepper beef, stuff like that. I've been dabbling into Asian cuisine, and I don't know why I've never done this before. So yeah.
Well, I'm happy that you are. I mean, you have to be a little bit more specific. Maybe try out, because I feel like Chinese, Japanese food is it's
an assortment, yeah.
It's an assortment. It's still within most people's comfort zone. I think that Korean is a little bit also close to it, but a little bit different.
Yeah.
But honestly, for me, because since you're talking about East Asian food, for me, I think that one of the most notable things I had this year was... there is a joint here in the UAE, in Dubai, and they serve really authentic Thai food. And it's just fantastic. And the food was really good. It was one of the first time I experienced proper Thai food, even though I've been to Thailand. But the thing about going out with a big family is that there's a good chance that most of them are picky eaters, so you need to accommodate to that.
Yeah.
So we mostly had McDonald's while we were there, and just pasta and whatnot, and instant noodles, of course. But I got the chance to try it out. But one of the most notable things I had there was the drink. And it's not something I tried it's not the first time I tried it, because I've had the Thai tea latte before, and I've had the sort of a vegan version, because they do have condensed milk in it a while back, like back in 2019, and I loved it so much. I went out and bought actually went to the Thai village in Global Village and bought the Thai tea mix myself so I can make it at home. But I had it like the authentic drink, and then just with lime and the Thai tea, and I actually ordered it twice. I rarely order a drink twice when I'm sitting down eating something, but I did. It was so good, and I keep craving it randomly, but it's so far away, and you know what? It's absolutely worth it. And as for food, at the beginning of the year, I was kind of very adventurous with my food. I still am, and I tried out a lot of random places with my friends, and there was one place that I went to that I became obsessed with, Mikhail.
What is it?
It's a Mexican place, and so authentic. I cannot express how authentic it is.
Quesadillas, tacos.
Everything. And I tried all kinds of new things I've never heard of before. It was the second time I tried birria tacos, and it was so good. And it was just amazing. I had tamales for the first time. Out of this world. Loved it. And every once in a while, I call up my friend. I'm like, hey, so... want to go back to that taco place?
Feeling Mexican tonight?
My friend is like, again? I'm like, I want the tacos. They are so good. And the prices are, honestly, they should raise their prices. That's how good it is. So for me in 2021, the Thai iced tea was, chef's kiss. And everything I had at that Mexican place, also chef's kiss. And nobody knows about it. So it's amazing going there and being empty. Although I honestly want them to succeed and I want everybody to know about them. But it's like my little secret place for now, and I love it. It is so good.
That's actually amazing. I need to try Mexican starting next year. But what is your favorite foods of 2022? Share us your highlights.
2021. What?
2021.
Look at you. Are you?
My mind is already
You're
next
already
year.
there. You're like, I understand because lately.
Because of the 3-day weekend.
3-day weekend. But you know how basically it takes a while. The older you grow, even though we're still in our mid-late 20s, and he's saying you're still young, but the whole understanding or like going like, just prepare yourself that you're getting older. So I accidentally, just like last year, I accidentally convinced myself I'm a year older. So the other day, I was asked, how old are you? And I had to pause. I'm like, am I 27? Or am I 28?
But it's a great feeling because you're like, I'm a year younger.
Exactly. I'm a year younger. Shoot, I'm still 27. But it was hilarious. And I feel you. So like it's like a preparation for the next year as we inch closer and closer. And I hope that it's going to be a good year for every single one of us because 2021 was testing me. It was testing
Square
me.
up. Square up.
Goodness, I know it did square up. That's the issue. It did.
I see some memes where it's like, 2021 wasn't so hard, but damn, did it have some hands?
Did it have some? 2021 had some. 2020 had nothing. I mean, it was nothing in comparison to 2021. But the show was not nothing. Afternoon Karak is everything. It's the best thing here on Pulse 95. We're going to be talking about plenty of things, starting with a good celebration for Mikey.
Oh yeah. This is where my zone is.
It's his day. It's his day today.
Yes.
We're also going to be talking about this new decision in the UAE that they're going to be stopping or not editing films with the introduction of a 21 age rating, which means that we're going to be watching more uncensored movies here in the UAE.
Finally, also, The Witcher star Henry Cavill seems to be interested in a Red Dead movie. Rockstar Games I'm just saying, it's already there. Also, Tom Holland says that he'd like to take a break from acting, especially maybe give someone out there another chance, a new chance to be the upcoming Spider-Man or Spider-Woman.
And so much more right here on the Afternoon Karak. So stay tuned and stay locked to Pulse 95.
What's the date?
What's the date?
What's the date?
What are we celebrating today?
Today we are celebrating Games Day, but in particular, those games we play like board games such as chess, checkers, Cluedo, snakes and ladders, etc. Which is why I think this day is Mikhail's day. It's his specialty.
Games in general has always been a long practiced hobby. You may not consider yourself a gamer, but you may have dabbled in some sort of fun activity in your lifetime. Just sitting around playing any kind of like little mini game or just sort of a challenge between friends.
Puzzle games, even video games. It still counts as a game because it is Games Day. So it's like an umbrella term for, like you said, all kinds of things that you do to enjoy with your friends.
Which is why I feel like this is more than just a celebration, but it's just like, it's a way for you to tell you guys that one of the best ways you can enrich your life and share in all sorts of great joy and happiness with yourself and your friends and family is to really just try to find games that you can really enjoy and it's of your personal preference and taste. One of the things that I did this year is I just doubled down on my board game hobby. And I went out of my way to search for games that have the simplicity where I can bring in casual players, but also has the complexity to, have them play over and over and over again. Yeah. So my suggestion to you guys, the best way to celebrate Games Day, is to just start collecting games that are of your, that you feel like you would have fun with and share it with others.
And the thing is, what people also tend to think of when you think of console games is that either single player or multiplayer games that you play online, but there are plenty of games that you can play amongst your friends while you're sitting with
Party games especially with the release of lots of games such as different iterations of, for example, Super Mario Party. I mean, just got a new one lately, especially since we have played the life out of the previous one. It was only time we got a new one. It wasn't a new one, it was like a remake of the previous one, but it's a breath of fresh air. It was amazing. And again, like we said, we spoke about It Takes Two. I'm not gonna stop talking about that game, especially since
the creator, Joseph Fares, is actually working on a new one, by the way. He's working on a new game. He showed us.
Not surprised.
So excited for that. But back to Takes Two, those party games.
For me personally, Jackbox Party.
Exactly, Jackbox
is amazing.
Party.
Every game, there's about, I think, 8 so far. And each game has like 5 mini games of trivia, things where it's like you basically challenge each other's sense of humor.
Yeah.
You know, another game where basically you get a weird fact and you have to fill in the blanks with a convincible lie. If people pick your lie, you get points. Just some, like, very engaging party games that you can find out there, and they're very affordable, and you can have a blast for the longest time.
Exactly. So that's why today is the day to delve deep into the inner child within you and find all kinds of games to enjoy with you. Whether it's alone, because there are plenty of games you can play alone, whether it's board games, card games, or video games, or the games you can enjoy with a lot of friends and family. So text us 4215 Itisalat or do tell us what kind of games do you like, which ones do you prefer, and
an all-time classic.
Yeah, I mean, for example, for me, I can never get tired of Cluedo, ever. It's just such a fun game, and it's so funny, like watching people when they eventually get it, or the ones who are so confident and then it turns out that it was wrong the entire time. Just a lot of fun.
Can't get enough of that.
Can't get enough of that. I'm pretty sure Mikhail has a lot of games that he believes.
Plenty. For me, it would be, for example, Love Letter is one of those games that I introduce people into.
Yeah.
As well as Skulls and Roses. It's like, think of it as poker, but it's very simplified into 4 little cards. Anything that deals with like deception and a little bit of strategy and tricking your friends, mind games. I always love those kind of games. So if you ever are down in Sharjah and you want to play games, I would recommend also checking out some board game cafes here that we have in Sharjah. There's one down in Maliha. Highly recommend you go check it out.
Yes, and there's plenty of them across the entirety of the UAE, so you have no excuses. And also you have Mikhail right here, so if you have any questions about any video game, any board game, any card game, text us 4215 Itisalat or do. We've got our very own game of Paxiano right here in Pulse 95. Coming up next, let's talk about this new age rating in cinemas. Yes, we're going to be getting 21 plus movies, and they're not going to be censored here in the UAE cinemas. Coming up next right here on the Afternoon Karak.
Pulse 95.
The Media Regulatory Office here in the UAE says that films with adult content will no longer undergo editing or changes following the introduction of a new 21 age rating in cinemas. So what does that mean? Mikhail's excited. He's very happy.
I am excited. What this means is that you don't jeopardize the artistic integrity of those very mature films, because we as adults, you know, we're at that age where we can consume those kind of stories, even though they can be a little bit much. But still, if you're gonna go to cinema and watch those kind of movies, it's better to have the full version instead of it cut out, because there's something about, and it bothers me when I watch a film and I see something cut off and I'm like, wait, what just happened? No. And I spent the next hour, I'm like, what if there's the thing that they cut paramount to the rest of the story, and that drives me crazy.
Absolutely, especially the fact that what we know is that when you go to the cinema, you're making a conscious decision to partake in this activity. So you picked out the movie. It's similar to the various content you find on Netflix, Amazon Prime, Apple TV Plus, and all that. Again, yes, it might go against some sort of, cultural teachings, values, etc. But at the end of the day, you're mature enough to avoid them if you do not want to watch these kind of things.
Exactly.
You are an adult, you can make these decisions. So them making this announcement is very important and very big in the world of cinema here in the UAE. And again, it will open doors for all kinds of movies to debut here also in the country. So we're very excited about that. We're going to be getting in what they call the original movie in their international version. And cinemas must adhere strictly to the new age rating, requiring proof of identification that a person is over 21, which obviously we 100% support. Even 18 plus movies, PG-15 and 15 plus movies, etc. We rarely get carded for it. Yes, I know we're old enough that we look old enough that we don't need to, but it's just They stopped doing it a good 10, 15 years ago. I recall, this is a very funny story. I'm glad my cousin is not tuning in right now because he might get his feelings hurt. But it was my cousins and I. And my cousin and I, we're both the same age. We're only like a couple of weeks apart. So we were both 15 around that time. We went in to watch the movie. And the attendant was like, "Can I see your ID?" And she asked my cousin only. Just him. And I'm like, We're both 15. She's like, "I believe you, but I don't believe him."
It's always like that. My sister, she looks a lot younger than she looks, than her actual age. And it's always like, are you like 19, 20? It's like, no, I'm 27. It's like whoa.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It is hilarious, especially as well. We were not supposed to do that, but we had some of my cousins were much younger than 15. They're like 11 years old. They did not get carded. But that cousin who was actually 15 years old, it was hilarious because she's like, "I believe all of you, but I don't believe him." And I was stifling my laugh.
It helps to have a beard for us guys, you know.
Again, we were 15. I think his beard was just coming out. Same goes for his mustache, but I think his ego was hurt that day that we all passed through except for him. But anyway, the jokes aside, again, this is a positive thing for all moviegoers here in the UAE, and perhaps the rest of the Gulf can also follow suit with this decision. 4215 Ittisalat or do tell us how you feel about this. We think it's a positive change, but maybe you have some other ideas, or do you support us? Tell us all about it. Coming up next, we're going to be talking about TikTok's new endeavor, TikTok Kitchen, right here on Pulse 95.
This is Pulse 95.
We cannot deny that TikTok has been the place where trends are created, where trends are born, and there are plenty of food trends that have emerged from TikTok, including the feta pasta, for example. Fun fact, I'm not trying to show off, but the person who started it, I followed her way before other people.
Whoa, humble brag.
I'm just saying, I was following her a long time ago.
And then there was that one trend where you take a burrito, tortilla, and you cut it in quarters, and you can make like 4 toppings and make it into a...
Exactly, like you said, so many ideas that were just created there, and it only makes sense or doesn't make sense, to be honest, at the same time, for TikTok to venture out within the world of food with TikTok Kitchen.
Honestly, I think this is a great idea. TikTok is basically partnering up with virtual dining concepts to launch something called the TikTok Kitchens. This is a delivery-only service that will cook up some of the trendiest recipes on the app, and it's actually going to open up around 300 locations across the United States, and we'll plan to expand around 1,000 by the end of 2022.
I mean, that sounds very interesting. It's definitely very different than other platforms are doing.
Mr. Beast already kind of does this. He launched the Mr. Beast burger, and he has some partnerships with restaurants, especially those who specialize in gourmet burgers, and they have that particular burger in their menus. Yeah, and it sold very, very well, and especially because he endorsed it. He has a lot of viewership. Yeah, so I think that it's in that same direction where the internet and the food culture is merging together, and people want to try out these really delicious and delectable food recipes. I'll be honest, sometimes I just get jealous watching somebody make that really cool sandwich, and I'm like, I wish I could order that. And this is almost like the solution for it, It is the solution for it.
Absolutely. And what I love as well is that they're taking advantage of virtual dining concepts, which is something that is very new here in the Middle East and in the Gulf. I only know 1 or 2 here in the UAE, but basically what it means is that the restaurant doesn't exist physically. Like, there is no actual restaurant, but you can still order and you get your food delivered to your house. So this is very smart. It's basically taking advantage of the fact that a lot of people prefer dining out and takeout over sometimes dining in, especially during a pandemic, for example. So why would they rent out a whole restaurant and a kitchen and chairs and tables?
Streamline the whole process. Cut the middleman and get to it.
Exactly. They'd have the kitchen, and they'd basically have some sort of agreement with a delivery service, and they do it for them, and khalas, that's it.
Yeah, I think it's a really great concept. And I hope that we might get TikTok kitchens in the UAE.
Why
I'd
not?
love to try some of the trendiest recipes on TikTok. It gets kind of annoying after a while. I actually have to click not interested, or I have to swipe away, because it's just like, it's just you're watching intangible dreams, you know?
I
It's
feel
just-
you.
But
I feel you.
This is, we're getting closer to our dream foods.
Well,
you
the
know?
funny thing is, Mikhail, if you remember, they create TikTok tutorials for you to make those foods at home as well. So,
Whoa!
it's not just you're ordering stuff from McDonald's or Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts. Usually they share their various orders, but most of the time, they're giving you recipes. So perhaps
I mean, why make it when you can order it? You know. It's like-
valid, not
It's just
wrong.
it's you know, being adults, it's weird. You know.
I get it. As a
You always
fellow adult.
you always make plans. You're like, yeah, I'm gonna spend it today cooking, and it's like, oh, 50% off.
50% off. Let me get that.
Buy one, get one. It happens.
It happens. It definitely happens. Text us 4215 Vitsalat or do. What do you feel about that? Is that smart of TikTok, or is that just not going to be successful? Let's hear about it from you guys. We'd love to know. Coming up next, we've got the sports headlines, and then we're going to be talking about Henry Cavill and Tom Holland. You love them? Stay tuned and stay locked to Pulse 95.
If you liked this episode of Afternoon Karak, drop a like and subscribe.
Pulse 95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.